Hello, my name is Eric Prather, and I will be presenting my capstone for MALS4902. The name of this presentation is The Evolution of Theater, the Need to Adapt to Younger Generations. The theater is at risk of becoming obsolete as older generations' participation levels decline and new entertainment options create never-ending forms of competition. The theater must embrace new engagement methods to develop millennial and Gen Z audiences. There have been massive changes in the way US audiences consume culture in the past 5 years, from exponential technological advances to disruptive behavioral, financial, and social changes due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The future of the theater and variety arts industry lies in the investigation of what motivates younger generations to participate as audience members and performing artists themselves. The theater is an art form that evolves with humanity. David Mamet, an American playwright, wrote in 2011 that the theater is always dying. Mamet insinuates that the theater's extended demise is a continuous process that is, therefore, simultaneously regenerative. This concept is what makes theater an innovative art form. There's an argument that the theater has more competition than ever with film, television, and streaming devices. So, how will the theater evolve to meet the needs of younger generations? Well, let's find out. Theater in America must adapt the content and style of the audience experience to reflect millennial and Gen Z audiences to increase participation and engagement by utilizing newer technologies to innovate the delivery and form of theater. Let's explore how to do that. Arts advocate Doug Borowick explains that the arts have the power to promote a healthier and more vibrant world, to ameliorate human suffering and nurture a more thoughtful, empathetic, substantive, and yes, economically prosperous society. Audience building strategies are often seen as a collection of market segments without the nuance of what could be a deep and meaningful relationship. To build this type of bond, the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation recommends that arts organizations focus on the community's needs and desires to have an impact. However, Osterweier explains that even before the pandemic, nonprofit performing arts organizations were experiencing declining or stagnant audiences, especially in older generations. The National Endowment for the Arts published a summary of Americans' arts participation patterns in 2017. One key finding from the report is that younger generations, specifically Gen Z and millennials, are among the most likely to take place in arts activities. These younger generations are the most engaged as arts attendees and have the highest participation levels in both the personal performance art and personal creation of art. This chart visually demonstrates how millennial and Gen Z are the most active in all categories of arts participation in the United States. The audience research report Culture Track reported that before the COVID-19 lockdown, 81% of arts and culture audiences were primarily motivated by having fun. However, in the November 2020 study, having fun as a motivator dropped to 53% of arts audiences, being replaced by 65% of audiences responding as spending quality time with friends or family as the highest motivator. Interpersonal connection is a crucial driver to arts experiences for younger generation. The NEA reports that the most important motivator for arts participation is a desire to socialize with friends and family, and the most common barrier for Gen Z audiences is an inability to find someone to go with. As audiences' behavior and tastes change, development strategies and aesthetic delivery modifications must be developed to attract younger audiences. Social media has allowed users from all over the world, from urban to rural, to connect to others who share similar interests. This new connection method empowers a population otherwise isolated to engage in art practices with a massive new community. Authors Chandler and Schubert Rush explore how Broadway musicals have increasingly embraced digital methods of audience engagement. The authors discuss how millennial and Gen Z's behavior patterns are different from previous generations because of the ability to create and produce content online. Access to digital technologies allows audience members to interact with theater productions on social media and online forums, creating new ways to extend their engagement with the narrative. Online spaces have created opportunities for fans to create communities where they share their love for the production. Doherty broadens the discussion by discussing how younger audiences are using social media to create paratext around the narrative of theater productions. A paratext is a text that relates to another text, the main work, in a way that enables the work to be complete. In the theater, this is the creation of fan art, fan performances, and any way fans engage with the text of a production to create something new. These fans search for recognition, status, and acknowledgement from the production and from the broader culture. Doherty argues that engaging in creating paratext as a mean of elongating the cooldown moment after the performance is the essence of younger audiences' desires. The cooldown moment is the transition between when the show is over and before the audience has left the theater. It is essential for audiences as they leave the performance and re-enter their regular lives. Changing the delivery of theater. Immersive theater offers patrons the option of more than just observing a narrative as a passive audience member. It allows audiences to physically experience the narrative firsthand. Immersive theater often has the attributes such as setting performances in a non-traditional location, creating non-linear experiences where audiences have free will to explore, or utilizing newer technologies. The Denver Center for Performing Arts, like many performing arts organizations, has an aging audience where even though millennials compose the largest age group in Denver, the Denver Center for Performing Art, to solve this, created the Off-Center program to attract a younger audience base. This program uses an evidence-based mindset to successfully and sustainably court millennial audiences in Denver by reflecting millennial taste and aesthetic preferences, such as immersive performances in locations that offer more opportunities for social interaction. Immersive theater aligns with the desires of younger generations because it allows audiences opportunities to self-curate, create, invent, and perform. This non-traditional style creates opportunities for audiences to connect and extend their experience with a production, often through online forums. As the theater industry searches to create the most immersive experience, newer technologies must enter the conversation. Virtual reality presents theaters with many new tools to create more vibrant and engrossing immersive worlds. The most accessible virtual reality platforms like Fortnite or Roblox engages the user in a game-like mind frame conducive to roleplay. The authors Reese and Ashmore claim that video games must be an entry point for virtual reality theater. Reese mentions that it is quite curious that traditional participatory theater is so often used with very young audiences, and video games are predominantly played by people between the ages of 18 and 35 years old. Furthermore, he mentions social engagement, group achievement, and game immersion that ultimately provide gamers with a sense of unlimited social interaction. And this sense of unlimited social interaction creates a space for the theater artists to incorporate this knowledge to increase the engagement and participation of younger generations. So let's look at some solutions. The theater industry must reflect Millennial and Gen Z's arts participation desires by reimagining the organization's purpose to serve and increase the overall vibrancy of this younger generation. Therefore, theaters need to reimagine the audience's role into a participatory spectator. A participatory spectator actively engages with theater productions. There are many ways to create this relationship. However, it must center on extending the audience's experience with the performance. Social media presents the theater with an endless number of ways to engage audiences. The most effective methods will increase opportunities for the audience to socialize, increase their participation in the story, and encourage the creation and presentation of art inspired by the theater production. Theaters must also adjust the delivery and form of theater to encourage active involvement. The progression of immersive theater accomplishes many of these desires that younger audiences have, such as increasing social interaction and incorporating new technologies. Virtual reality presents theaters with many new tools to create more vibrant and engrossing immersive worlds. However, incorporating such technologies must be used to emphasize the production's narrative. The responsibility falls on the theater artist to choose technologies that audiences can effortlessly use. There is no substitution for exceptional performers, direction, and design. So, any technical integration must uplift the performance to create an engaging audience experience. To successfully develop millennial and Gen Z audiences, theaters must enhance and extend the audience engagement with the performance. Social media provides one set of tools to create this connection when the objective is to encourage audiences to create paratext and extend the engagement with the performance. They must also develop immersive experiences by changing the form of theater or incorporating newer technologies if the organization has the capacity to create a streamlined audience experience. Further research on virtual reality's ability to create immersive narratives will increase success. Successful organizations will measure progress through evaluation methods that align with organizational goals to create an iterative process. The theater becoming obsolete is a perpetual threat. The industry must meet the younger generations where they are by adapting the delivery and form of theater. The promise of social media to connect communities can happen through the creation and sharing of art. The theater possesses the ability to empower fans to generate unlimited amounts of paratext to fuel geographically separated fandoms. Immersive experiences, whether created digitally or in physical spaces, attracts millennial and Gen Z audiences who enjoy the newer level of engagement. While there are new tools to develop theatrical production, theater artists must present all theatrical performance with the highest level of artistic excellence. Theater artists must embrace an evidence-based, iterative exploration process to develop an updated delivery and form of theater. The journey of technological integration will regenerate the theater so long as it focuses on the audience's ability to connect and share a deeper presence and more found experience. Thank you so much. Here is a list of references and an extension of the references right here. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation on the evolution of theater, the need to adapt to younger generations. My name is Eric Prather. Thank you so much and have the best day of your life.